It's now time to look at the idea of movement of our sprites in Scratch. So as we go along, we're going to start by thinking about our number plane, and the Scratch cat or the Scratch sprite that you have on the stage lives on a number plane. It has an X position and a Y position. Now you can turn this number plane on or off by putting it as a background or a scene or a stage backdrop. So I'm going to show you how to do that now so that you can start off with your Scratch cat on the number plane. I'm now going to show you how to get that number plane in the background of my stage, or on the stage backdrop as it's called in Scratch. I'm going to click over here on the stage backdrop area and I'm going to click on choose a new backdrop from the library. The number plane that I've been using is all the way down the bottom here, and it's called the XY grid. I'm going to click on OK to include that in there, and that's how I put that background in. If I click across to this backdrop, it's going to change to that one, so I need to select this one, and then I can click on my sprite and go back to scripts, and I'm ready to roll. I'm only going to look at 3 different blocks that you can use for movement in Scratch. So in my demonstration, only these 3 are going to be demonstrated. I'll show you some others when I show you how to fix a problem that you're going to create, but basically these 3, you should be able to use your brain and your experimentation to be able to figure out what all of the other blocks in the motion section or the movement section of Scratch do. So here we are in the Scratch on the website, and I'm basically going to start by looking at these 3. Move 10 steps, set X2 and put a number in there, and turn 15 degrees. You can see that I've got the number plane set up here so that we can measure what we're doing here. First thing I'm going to do though is drag out 3 different events. They're going to be keyboard events, so I'm going to drag out 3 keyboard events, 1, 2, and 3, and I'm going to make them the letters A, B, and C. So then I have those 3 different keyboard events. When I press A, it's going to move the 10 steps. When I press B, it's going to set it back or set it to 0. And when I press C, it's going to turn them 15 degrees. Let's look at A first up. If I press A, you can see that my little cat there moved approximately 10 pixels or spots across from the 0 line across in the direction it was facing. Okay, so that's important. It moved when you press move in the direction it's facing. If I press the B key now, it should move back. If I change this out to be 100 steps, you should see it move out to be position 100, and that line there, as you can see if I drag it away, is the 100 line. You can actually see the 100 in that sort of scale there. If I then press B again, no matter where it was, it goes back. Looking at C now, it's going to turn me by 15 degrees. So if I press C, you'll see that it's turned me 15 degrees in the way that this arrow is pointing. So if I keep on turning, eventually I'll get back the way I was. Once again, if I change this, for example, if I change it to 30 degrees, I'll turn slightly quicker. As we know, there are 360 degrees in a circle. If I turn it 360 degrees, we will see that it doesn't really change at all. It actually does a full rotation all the way around before you see it happen. If I turn it 90 degrees, we'll press the C key and you'll see that it rotates that way. Just as an aside thing, if you want to change it so that it only looks forwards and backwards, you can change this setting here in the information panel of your sprite. So now when I press the C key, you can see that it only looks either way. It doesn't actually turn around the whole distance. I can change that back again because I might like that to happen. Now, once you've actually started moving your sprite around, you'll see that it gets strangely stuck off the side of the stage. It might even leave the stage altogether. This is going to be one hint to tell you how to fix this problem And it's fairly straightforward. We just need to create a special event that will fix it for us every single time. So when you play around with movement, your sprite will often end up in a place that you don't want it. I'm going to create a quick reset button, and I'm going to use the R button. So let's create that now. Events. When the key is clicked, and the key is going to be the R button, so all the way down, there it is, there. So when the R button, R for reset, is clicked, I'm going to move it back to a nice spot being right back in the middle. Let's look at our motion blocks and see what we can use to do this. If I set the X to 0, I'm going to press the R key now, you can see that it's moved it back there. If I then set the Y to 0 and press the R key, it's moved it back there. So no matter where I was, if I'm over here and I press the R key, it's back there. I now need to get it to point in the right direction, and there is a point in direction there, 90 degrees. And if you look at that, I want it to look, for example, to the right, which is this one here. So now if I press the R key, it ends up there. So no matter what happens here, I'm going to move it down here. I'm going to press this a few times to rotate it. No matter where I am, I can now press the R key and it will reset it back to the middle. If I didn't want it to reset back to the middle, let's just say I wanted to reset back over here to the negative 100, I can always set this to be negative 100. That way, no matter where I am over here, if I press the R key, it's going to be back at the negative 100 mark. If I wanted it to be in a strange place, like over here, I can look at the value of where it is right now by seeing that it's currently in this position here and this position here. And you can see that that is the current position that it's in. I can pull that out and replace these two blocks with that one block, and it's always going to go back to there no matter what now. So that's how you fix your cat or your sprite so that it goes back to the position that you want it to every time you press a key like the R key.